And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Experience Hockey Talk, serious hockey talk for serious hockey fans here live on Twitch. And as you can tell, I am not alone. I am being joined by the Assistant Commissioner of the DCHL, Matt Tway.
That's how you say it, yeah.
Tway?
That's where Tway comes from.
Okay, as long as I'm not screwing it up.
Everybody does.
Or as we're just going to be constantly referring to him as on the show, Tway. Hey, look! Now it's live on.
There we are.
Hey, now I got the chat room up on the PlayStation 4. Just so people know, this is what we're talking about right here.
Create a wormhole.
I know. Well, right now it's a commercial, so it's not us seeing us. So there you go. Fix that. So it's semi-crooked. Only semi-crooked. We don't need it fully crooked.
Tilt your heads and watch the show.
And Shaggy's our first comment. Good morning, Shaggy. Obviously, member of the Sheet Sharks. And Shaggy, this is a shocker for you right here. But this guy right here, like I just said, is the... there you are. You're on screen now.
Now we're back up.
Yeah, now we're back up. He is the Assistant Commissioner in the DCHL. He is the one who deals with Suds' insanity just probably as much as I do.
It's a tough job sometimes, but sometimes it's a fun job too. What better than doing something with hockey, right? It's a passion project.
With the insanity.
With the insanity. Every league has insanity, and you get that many people in one forum. There's just things that come up.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, but, we're going to start off right now talking about the DCHL Championship games that are going to be taking place tomorrow. We're going to work our way with the highest division and work our way all the way up to the rec division. We're going in reverse.
All right.
The reason for this is because as we... I noticed this every time when Suds came on, when we were back on the WBGR days, we'd be like, oh yeah, we're going to start in rec, and then we talk about my games, and it's like, okay, cool. And it's like, after that, I'm just like, hi, I'm stupid.
Yeah, you just chat on about yourself, don't you?
Yeah. Well,
save the best for last.
Well, I mean, let me put it like this. If the DCHL were ever to have a Hall of Fame, I would go in because of all the other things that I've done that we've talked about off air. So it would be me as accomplished for one of the things I did, and then you have to put a separate wing in for my ego.
Okay, of course, yeah. Haul it in on a trailer.
Yes, Shaggy, this isn't one of the people you can complain to, but you never see him early enough in the day.
Mm-hmm. I'm a late kind of guy.
Yeah, which is also one of the beneficial things to this, because I know Hockey Dead, I know Crazy Eights, I know Goonies partially, and I know Gwendolyn Arabian Nights partially, and I know High Rollers partially. So as we go up to the rec division, the more and more smarter I'll sound.
Yeah, you'll have more feedback on them. I've only seen glimpses of each of these teams here and there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, for Goonies, there's members of the Sharks on there.
Mm-hmm.
For High Rollers, there's members of the Sharks on there. For Gwendolyn Arabian Nights, there's a lot of the people on that team that have played against the Sharks in rec.
There's a lot of overlap between these divisions.
So yeah, there's a lot of overlap when you look at those teams, and then there's Hockey Dead and Crazy Eights, and yeah, we'll get to Hockey Dead because you saw me have a calculator up on my screen earlier.
Yes.
And I said I'll explain why, and you'll find out.
Let's find out.
All right. So starting off in D1, we have the Babylon Warriors versus the White Walkers.
This is going to be a good matchup. The White Walkers. This division really has separated itself into two halves of playing talent, and it's nothing against the people in the bottom half of the teams that I play on or there. It's just the top three teams are so strong and so stacked, and Babylon is one of those teams. They have so many great players. They play in these tournaments across the country, but it's always about who's showing up for Babylon that day, what's happening at seminary, who's available, who's not traveling this weekend. They've won multiple championships in this division, and the White Walkers have too, but now it's their time to really step up and take one away from them and get their first championship in a long time. One of the keys to this game are a few of the players on White Walkers play the game prior for Funk Masters, so how tired will they be? How much gas will they have in the tank? What kind of contributions can they make while playing in their second game? I think that's going to be the key to this one. I would still favor Babylon just for that reason, but it could go either way. It could be a coin flip if everybody's fresh and the right people show up.
Right. And of course, I'm seeing that there's more people watching. If you have any comments, we have a chat room. We showed it earlier. There's a chat room, so feel free to ask questions to Tway as well.
Sure.
Yeah. We all know DCHLers always want to ask questions.
Of course.
So, in your personal prediction, who do you think wins? Babylon Warriors or the White Walkers?
I think Babylon wins, probably a score of 5-3. Probably an empty netter at the end. We'll make that 5-3.
So you're going with the empty netter to seal the deal?
Seals the deal.
Seals the deal.
Seals the deal.
All right. And then next up in D2, you have Funkmaster's Redo versus the All Blacks.
This is a division that I'm quite bitter at because I expected my team to be in the championship again, but Funkmasters knocked us off in the semifinals, and the All Blacks played a great game against the Gorilla Gang. They were the 2 seed, and I believe Funk were the 4 seed, maybe even the 5 seed.
Let's find out. We have the standings right here in front of us.
But no matter what seed they are, Funkmaster are always dangerous.
Funkmaster was the 3 seed, Gorilla Gang was the 4 seed.
Yeah, they're all pretty close right there, 10, 10, and 9, so there's just a lot of parity in this division. A lot of people have been playing each other for a long time. A lot of crossover players from D1 and D3, so this game could go either way. I know I say that a lot, but I feel like Funkmasters have been to so many championship games so often that they have to have the edge just in experience and getting there. The All Blacks certainly could win the game. They've got a lot of good players on there. A lot of it's going to ride on Jeff really standing on his head because a lot of players from Funks can shoot the ball from far. As you know, that ball curves further are you out. So he's got to have a good game and hold them up.
I probably could have had a couple empty net goals if it wasn't for the curve. That ball. Did you ever hear the one where the ball shattered in the middle of a game?
No.
Yeah, one of my players and another team's defenseman, they went for the ball at the same time, and they both their 6 hit, and it just shattered.
I would like to have seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen them rip at the seam, but never shatter.
It was a brand new ball, too. But I think what it was is that Suds took it right out of his car, and the ball was frozen cold. Yeah. So you throw this frozen ball on the court, and you have 2 sticks smack it. Shatters, and I think a piece of it...
There's a real temperature difference, too, in that place. Especially in the summertime, it gets so hot. For a while, we were putting the balls on ice because they would get so soft. I don't know if we've done that recently, but...
not lately.
It's been pretty cold,
yeah.
We'll see how the summer goes, but that place can really heat up in there.
We'll see when July and August come along.
Yeah.
When we're all dying.
Yeah, it gets squishy in there, so we kind of need to do that.
Yeah, people don't want to, do rushes because it's just so hot in that sportsplex.
Yeah.
But All Blacks, Funkmaster, who you got?
I've got Funks 3-2.
Funks 3-2. All right, coming up next, we have in D3 the Irate Puck Assassins, aka the IPA, and the Goonies. Goonies, co-captained by Rachel, who is my assistant captain of the Street Sharks. Also on the Goonies, they have Jeff Carter, Jeff Leonweaver, Arian. Again, this is where the Street Sharks coming into play for me because I know players.
All your old teammates stepping up to this D3 division, and
which is also why we got went 2-6-2 and got bounced in the first round.
And you had a lot of D3 caliber players on your rec team. Yeah. That's going to change the game a little bit, isn't it?
The dynamic, yeah. But when you look at both of these teams, I don't play up, but I know of players. What are your thoughts on this game right here?
Despite the players you mentioned being offensively talented, these are 2 very defensive-minded teams who really hold the line and try and keep the score low and duke it out. Whoever gets the first break in this one, I think, really gets to run downhill. And momentum is going to play a big, big part of this game, keeping up the momentum, keeping the other team out of the zone. Whoever scores first gets it, but I see this as a classic DCHL overtime game that goes to a shootout. And at that point, it's a toss-up, right? Whoever gets the breaks.
Right. Well, hopefully no shootouts, because shootouts in playoff games, especially championship games, suck. I'm a huge opponent of the shootout in playoff games. Thank you, NHL, for still doing continuous 20-minute overtimes. Greatest hockey ever played.
If we had more time, we would.
Oh, yeah.
We are bound by the limits of the time schedule, but I feel pretty good that this one is going to be a shootout-style game. Yeah. We're due for one of those, and this is the perfect matchup of the 5 to be a shootout game.
So you're saying this is going to be the match of the night, the game of the night?
This is probably the most balanced match of the night, I would say. The most equally fair, balanced matchup. This would be the one to watch.
Right.
This would be the best hockey.
And then next up in D4, you have the High Rollers, who have also a few current Sharks on that team,
yes, and
a couple former Sharks. They have Terry Dobbins, former Shark, current Shark John Chick. I believe Andre Witt's on the team as well.
He's on a lot of teams now.
Yeah. That's why we're working on some things to try to help fix that, so that way we can, the guys can only play on 2 teams. We're hoping that in the future that women can only play on 2 teams too.
Ideally, we'll have enough women to make that happen. We're still trying to build that pool of talent up.
Stay tuned. That announcement, spoiler alert, that announcement is partially going to be announced today. The rest of it will be announced later. There's partial agreements made. And then there's the Gwendolyn Arabian Knights. This is a team that started in rec with, ironically, the Commissioner Sudds as their goaltender.
Mm-hmm.
We were making jokes about that earlier. And to see them now where they are with the program that they have through Eric Taviner and David Altschuler. Monday nights they do the practices and stuff like that. They now, this is also kind of a spoiler alert for when we start talking about next season. They're going to have like 3 teams.
Yes, they are.
Next season.
That program has really developed into something special. Their Wednesday team just won the Rec Division Championship. Sunday team is in the championship there. There's a lot of people playing on Monday nights now. They
had a Monday night roller hockey team, but that team got disbanded. Not because it wasn't a failure of Gwendolyn, it's just the way that the roller hockey league went.
Mm-hmm.
The roller hockey league went a certain way, and
it also conflicted with their Monday event.
Yeah, exactly. That too.
It's kind of hard to get to field a team when everybody's so used to being in that environment. It's really turned into a good program. I think that was David's brainchild, and he's really grown that into a pretty good feeder program for our league. A lot of people coming through, having a chance to develop their skills, so it's a nice program.
Definitely. And so, who you got on this one, Gwendolyn or the High Rollers?
As I recall, I think these are the 1 and 2 seeds, but Gwendolyn was really quite the powerhouse this season.
We have it right here.
Yep, they were. So
they were the powerhouse. High Rollers were second place with 9 points. Gwendolyn in first place with 18.
Yeah. Gwendolyn went undefeated. They really did dominate this league, and you see the stat right there, the goals against, 8 goals against in 10 games. They're strong defensively, and they've got a really good goaltender, and that allows them a lot of opportunity to send the ball up the floor. They're very good at lobbing it up, sending it to the other zone, and attacking with speed. I think that they run away with this game.
Especially if Abdul takes command of the game, which we know Abdul can do, especially from the back end.
He won every championship in every division on Wednesday, so Rec, D2 and D1, so he's riding a high wave right now. And I believe Eric is still in goal for them.
Eric is the goalie for the D4 team.
This will be his last D4 game, so those are both 2 players that play at a D1 level when they're playing in a D4 game.
Is Eric full out retiring from the league, or is he just retiring from goaltender?
Just moving up.
Moving
on up. I think Gwendolyn runs away with this one. 4-1, 5-0, somewhere in that range. Sorry, High Rollers, but I wouldn't waste money betting on yourselves. But
put up the good fight.
I hope you surprise me, and I hope I have to eat my words. But
put up the good fight, guys.
Yeah, Vegas Suds line is probably on the Gwendolyn Knights.
Yeah. And to shout out to Terry Dobbins. Terry, I love you. The game will be frustrating. Keep your cool, buddy. So, but yeah,
it's just a rec game. We all have to work tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. But I love you, and just keep your cool, man. I won't be there to console you, but you can call me if you have to. And then next up, you have the rec division. This is where I'm actually the smartest person on this one, because I see this one more than you do.
Sure.
Because I'm there early and you're not so much.
So you've played against both of these teams. Yes. Tell me how you see this one coming out. What are the keys to each side?
So you have the Hockey Dead, who formerly were known as Shut Your Five Hole.
Who were maybe Scabs before that?
I don't know. But Shut Your Five Hole was an abysmal team. They weren't. They were always near the bottom of the barrel.
That's a strong word, abysmal.
Derek O'Halloran and I are good friends, and he knows why I say that. He openly agrees with the sentiment too. But and I'm happy for him. That he's been at the bottom for how many seasons now, and now he's getting this opportunity with Hockey Dead after a rebrand of the team and some new faces and stuff like that.
New fantastic shirts. I do like the way they rebranded that. So a couple new players.
You had 3 teams rebrand themselves this past season. You had Crazy Eights with their new uniforms, and they're working on getting a dark uniform. And they lost Geffe and Phil to the Zambronis to create that team. in D3. Although that really, and when you look at it, because they're back in the championship game for the second season in a row, it didn't have that much of an impact on them. Hockey Dead did the complete rebrand from going from being Shut Your Five Hole to Hockey Dead. Same captain, a lot of the same players, but a lot of new players at the same time.
Sure.
And then Street Sharks did the rebrand, where we let 5 people move up to D4 and D3, brought in a whole new bunch of faces to the team, and we also brought in new uniforms too.
It's a good time to do it. New players, new ideas.
Yeah. So it's like you had the 3 teams, and when you look at it in perspective, going into this season, you had 2 top teams do a rebrand and 1 bottom tier team, and now you flip it, and it's like, well, 1 team stayed in the top tier, 1 team moved to the top tier, and 1 team moved to the bottom tier.
It's the ebbs and flows of a division like that. When new talent's constantly coming in, you're gonna have new players find their way.
Yep.
So, with the Hockey Dead, where did they finish? I think they were a top 4 seed, right?
Hockey Dead was the top seed.
Really?
Yeah.
It's tied. That's why.
No. Well, what it is that Hockey Dead actually got the top seed with goals forward, and then Crazy Eights were technically the second place team, because what would have happened if we had beat Slashing Pumpkins in the first round, we would have played Hockey Dead, because we would have gotten the first place team.
So the Hockey Dead beat the Pumpkins to get there, and then we have the Crazy Eights, who are in another championship, defending champions.
Yep.
Even after a rebuild. So how do you see this game playing out?
Well, here's the thing, and let me pull up my little calculator.
So the calculator comes in.
Yes, this is where the calculator comes in. I'm also going to pull up one other thing. I need to go back to standings real quick.
What does 8008 mean?
It's actually 60. Now, I'm going to pull up both Crazy Eights and the Hockey Dead's rosters, and here's why. Okay.
Advanced metrics here.
Kind of, not really. So right here, we're looking at the player stats. And for Crazy Eights, you have Aaron and Jason with 7 goals and 6 goals respectively, 9 points and 8 points respectively. But one thing that you also notice is that in points on this team, there is balance. In goals, after those 2 players, there is balance. So there's a lot more balance in regards to scoring for the Crazy Eights. But when you look, that's the Street Sharks. That's not the one we want to look at. No. We want to look at Hockey Dead.
Unfortunately, that team didn't make it to the finals.
Yeah, I know. That team sucks. I wonder who plays on that team. I just can't quite put a finger on it. But then...
So as we look at the Hockey Dead roster...
You look at the Hockey Dead roster, you have Eric with 20 goals. And then you look at everybody else on the team, he averaged 61% of their scoring.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I have been told that he will not be playing next season because he actually does like Civil War reenactments, which, by the way, that is freaking awesome. And I told Derek, we got to go visit him on like a Saturday or something, like watch him.
What side he's on?
Oh, I don't care what side he's on. I just want to go up there and visit so we can be like, yo, let's watch this dude do Civil War reenactments, because I think that's cool. As somebody who goes to conventions and sees cosplayers all the time, that's cool. Doesn't matter what side he's on, He could be on the wrong side, and I'll still be like, yeah, you're a schmuck, But he does 61% of their goal scoring. He has 23 points. He only has 3 assists the entire season. 3 assists.
Right.
Remember how we were talking earlier this season, or before we went on the air, we were talking about the Street Shark stats, and where we were joking about Shaggy, where with Shaggy he had 6 goals and 2 assists for 8 points. But then I had 5 goals, 5 assists for 10 points. One player was balanced, and you made the joke. It's like, oh man, this Shaggy guy doesn't really pass the ball. Although Shaggy will disagree on one, because in the Russian Machine tournament, he actually was the one who assisted on the game-winning goal. Mm-hmm. And I'll get to Shaggy's comment right there in a moment. But but when you look at it, it's like he
is the engine that drives their team. So how do they stop him?
Yeah.
How do they keep him from getting on the board?
And I think that's where the balance of Crazy Eights come into play. I showed you the stats of the Crazy Eights. They actually do have a much better system. Sal has he actually begged me for the video of the game, of one of the games that the Street Sharks and the Crazy Eights played against each other, because apparently that game he started implementing a new defensive system. And I think that if Crazy Eights really, play their best game with that system, they're going to be able to keep Eric off the board, especially if you keep all the long bomb shots away from him.
Mm-hmm.
You take away the long bomb shots, you get up in his grill, you make him not be able to take that slap shot, he isn't going to score. And so I think that's like the key factor right there if Crazy Eights is going to win. But at the same time, when you have a game, that's the wrong stat sheet. That's the right stat sheet. Hockey Dead beat us 7-3 the very first time we played them. You take out Eric's hat trick from that game, that's a 3-3 tie because the 7th goal was an empty netter.
It's hard to take away a hat trick out of a game. That's a lot of goals.
I know, but you see what I'm saying, though. They can, if you take out that hat trick, that would have been a tie game. That wouldn't have been a win because then we wouldn't have pulled our goalie and they wouldn't have scored an empty net goal.
They still put up 3 goals even without him.
Yes, exactly. Now, if we go back to Hockey Dead, no, that's the wrong one.
How did Hockey Dead and
now that's what we're going to look at. The first time,
Crazy Eights won 4-1.
Well, Crazy Eights won 4-1, and then second time Hockey Dead won 4-1.
So there you go.
So they're pretty much balanced in that regards. You're now going into the recaps.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the first recap.
Did Eric play this game?
We're gonna go right to that.
Yeah, he did. I saw.
Yeah, he had a goal, and he had the lone goal in the 4-1 win. And then if you go, come on, work with me. Work with me. And then the second game, Eric played and he had a hat trick.
So he was a difference maker that game.
Yeah. So there you go.
So throwing a lot on your shoulders, Eric.
Yeah.
The statistics say you're the reason that they're going to win. I'm sure the other 9 people on the floor have something to say about that. But
yep.
So you think the key to this game is stopping Eric from putting the ball on net?
Well, not only stopping Eric from putting the ball on net, but also, here's the great thing, and we actually were able to be partially successful with this. Take one player, particularly a fast player, put him on Eric. Put him on Eric and have him shadow Eric the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
So that way you don't blow all your other coverage. So that way you don't let any...
So now you have to win 4-on-4.
Yeah. Turn it into a 4-on-4 game.
It's a tactic that's been used many times, and that might be the way to go.
Yeah. I mean, this league did start off as a 4-on-4 league.
Many, many, many years ago.
Yes.
On the small floor. But
back in my day.
So
did you play at Sidwell?
Never was a Sidwell guy.
Okay,
I'm a Rockville original.
Okay, I originally originated at Sidwell. So there you go. I'm old.
There you go. I came in on the big floor, so I missed all these 4-on-4 days. So it looks like your suggestion of the Crazy Eights is give them the shadow treatment and...
Oh, I would.
Or, excuse me, the Hockey Dead and do what you do best.
Yeah.
Score goals as a balanced team.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
If you're listening, Derek, what was his idea?
Yeah, that was my idea. I love you, Derek. And then actually, talking about Derek, Shaggy brought up a good point on the chat room. His good play this season is obviously continuing his good form when he was part of the championship Txht team in the Russian Machine Never Breaks tournament back in September. You're welcome, Derek. I'm glad to have given you that opportunity to shine as a superstar.
I can't believe it was September. I was so
I know
already.
I know. That's the funny part.
Yeah.
That was, when you look at that was like training camp was still going on for the NHL, and now, ironically, and now it is the last day or last weekend of the regular season, going into the playoffs on Wednesday.
It seems like a seamless transition, doesn't it?
Almost. But yeah, I predict if it's a back and forth, if Crazy Eights are able to, if the Crazy Eights are able to take Eric out of the equation, I see them winning this game. However, Eric runs wild in this game, the Hockey Dead are going to be your champions. So it's a 50-50 coin flip on that one in regards to that. And then also, real quick, because why not, finish up on some DCHL stuff. So, Sharks, we're going to work on it. We got a few things to tweak. All Sharks games are now going to be on Twitch here on the Txht channel starting April 15th. If we do start that day, I don't know yet. I hope we do because we've been off for 5 weeks and we need to play.
Yes, we're jumping right back into league
Yes,
play.
we are backing right into the thing. I can partially announce the TXHC Women's Hockey Initiative. One of the newest players on the Street Sharks is the first female player of that initiative, and she will actually be getting her first taste of DCHL hockey, not with the Street Sharks, but in the Consolation exhibition game tomorrow at 2 p.m., which I will also be playing in because she needed somebody familiar to be in the game. And I've been off, like I said, I've been off for 4 weeks now. I need to knock off some rust.
March is a tough month for the league.
Yeah.
A lot of travel days for tournaments and holidays.
Yeah,
so.
and the holidays, yeah. Luckily for me, Easter, who had shut down the league for that 1 week, made me so happy because I had Awesome Con, and I was busy that entire weekend. But it still didn't stop Suds from calling in a favor on the last day of the con. So I'll explain that off air. And then, so we are working on growing the women's game in the DCHL through TXHT. We're going to be trying to bring women into the league. There's other stuff to announce as part of it. We can't announce it yet because Suds, I know you're watching this. Hopefully, maybe not. I don't know. But we need to talk. We were supposed to have this finalized before today. We did not get it finalized before today. Hopefully we can get it finalized before Tuesday's NHL playoff preview special, which will air live at, I believe, 7 p.m. on Tuesday night. Mm-hmm. And then there's a couple other things with the broadcasting of games that needs to get worked out. And then there's a third thing in there that I can't talk about yet because that hasn't been officially confirmed yet either.
Anytime we can get more DCHL action out there for people to see and grow the league, it's exciting. So this is the first step into helping expand and build the brand.
Yep, and not only that, but you know, and I like what Suds is trying to do with the public access TV. You know, filming the games and then putting them on. But the big problem with that is that it takes time. You know, you can film the game and then send it to them and say, hey, can you air this as quickly as possible? And then it could be like a month later and the game airs.
Yes.
And I know Suds has been trying to get them up on YouTube, but because of the public access station, there's limitations of what he can do, which is why you have not seen the DCHL League's Game Center show on YouTube yet. It is why you have not seen many of the feature games that have been put on public access TV on YouTube yet. By doing this through here on Twitch, we're live streaming it through TXHT, and then as you're going to see when this is over, you're going to see how fast I get this up onto YouTube immediately after it's done. And it's up on YouTube. You can throw it up on Twitter. You can throw it up on Facebook. You can throw it up on, like for us, our Patreon page. You can throw it up on the DCHL website, and it's there immediately for people to see. And, you know, and that's one of the things that we're trying to get going on that one. So, Suds, we need to talk.
We'll get there eventually. It's a slow process, but one day we'll look back and say, this was a turning point.
Do you know when know when the first game was filmed?
I have no idea.
Season 3, in the Sidwell days. Suds had invited me out to play because we had played against each other in the JCC in Fairfax. He was on a free agent team called the Orangutans, and I was on the original version of the Street Sharks. And I remember saying, okay, I'm going to bring my friend Scott, who is now our goalie on the Street Sharks. And I brought my camera, and it wasn't like a phone like this. It was, this was before I had a smartphone. This was when I saw the flip phone back in those days. And so you had this little digital camera, and I told Scott, film the games I'm going to be playing in, because I ended up playing in 2. And so he did. I actually ended up scoring my first career DCH goal in my first game. And that's up on Facebook for people to see. And
those who are nostalgic.
Yeah, those who want nostalgia. And that was actually the first real time. And then I posted the videos up on Facebook, and so I was like, man, that's actually a really good idea. And then it led into the filming of games with Andy, I'm forgetting his last name, I think it's Goss, being the original play-by-play guy for DCHL. And of course now you have like yourself, Jason Stitcha, a couple others who...
Joe does some games.
Yeah, Joe
Suds does some
Shea,
games.
Suds does some games. Suds tries to have me do play-by-play, but I really suck at play-by-play. I'm really good at color commentary. Mm-hmm. You and I did really good that one Wednesday night.
It's more work than you would think to do play-by-play. It's kind of exhausting.
It really is. I can't...
It's almost as exhausting as playing the game yourself.
I know.
Trying to keep up with it and keep it moving.
So, I remember having to do the RHL game. And I told Suds I'm not a play-by-play guy. He wanted me to do the championship game, which made no sense. He needed 2 referees on the court for that game. And you saw why in the video, because a player broke another player's ribs. On a very dirty play that, sorry, Suds, you needed to call that penalty, and you didn't call the penalty. And all I did was I chimed in, kind of like a color commentary where you chime in on certain points. That hit from behind being one of the ones where...
The RHL game is so much faster than the floor game. It's a lot to keep up with. At least the floor game, there's a lot of back and forth, some ball movements and neutral zone work.
Have you seen some of the teams that play in RHL?
Mm-hmm.
Like some of the other ones. Because there are teams that can actually do that, where they can just do the zone stuff the entire time.
It's just a faster game overall.
Oh yeah, it's on wheels. Yeah, it's definitely a faster because it's on wheels. And I can say this as somebody who's reffed in that league. I'm making it sound like I'm gone from the league. I'm not. I'm just on a 2-week break so I can let some injuries heal before I start up with the Sharks again. And they, I can keep up with them. The thing that's the hardest is because there's more, you're allowed to wheel the stick. So there's a lot, and they do a little bit more stuff. Yeah, a little bit faster than we do. They also do things a little bit, certain players can do things a bit more aggressively than others. Just a couple weeks ago, I had to call a guy for slew-footed. The guy came in and slew-footed a guy, going into the boards. It was a dangerous play. It had to be called. But, it's still the same, but you have to take into the fact that there's also no offsides and no icing. And they're able to wheel their sticks, which if we can ever get the players in the DCHL to all wear helmets, we too would then be able to wheel our sticks.
I don't think that's ever going to happen. There will always be a wheelless league, just for safety reasons, even with helmets.
I don't know. Something tells me that if we do eventually go mandatory helmets, it's probably going to happen. It's going to be one of those things. Sorry, Suds. It's going to be one of those things where if you want everyone to wear helmets mandatory, okay, the league wants everyone to wear helmets. You're going to have to give something up in return. And wheeling the stick may be the one thing that...
Time will tell. I don't think there's much of a demand for wheeling of sticks.
I've already had... what was it? I brought the conversation up to a couple players, and they're like, I just want to wheel my stick again. If I smack them in the face because they don't want to wear a helmet, that's their own fault.
I think you're pulling a different group of people than I am. But
I'm also pulling, hockey players. Sorry. I'm talking about ice hockey players.
So be it.
I've learned how to not wheel my stick anymore. So it's just
you grow accustomed to it.
Yeah, you do, and not only that, but at the certain point, you're like, it's like with stick lifting. Everyone, a lot of people like to complain about stick lifting. You know how high the max you should ever lift someone's stick up?
Just enough.
Up to their knee. You should never lift their stick above their knee. If you lift their stick above their knee, you just reached it too high.
They're not holding onto the stick the right way in my mind, but
yeah. We can teach people how to do that. I'm going to be doing that tomorrow. It's going to be really fun. But so there's a whole bunch of that that goes into play. Wow, we're breaking a fourth wall here. I just realized we're breaking a fourth wall that nobody actually sees in regards to the league, because it's like I referee, you're an assistant commissioner, and we see the things that nobody else really sees and talks about. Wow. Hi, this is a fourth wall break.
That's part of the reason why we're here, right?
Yeah.
To impart that knowledge into all the DCHL players watching right now, and then we'll watch this on YouTube later.
Yep, and on Patreon. Patreon.com/TXHT_hockey. Please support the show.
What was that address again?
Patreon.com/TXHT_hockey. Yeah. Just like how you can watch this live on Twitch at twitch.tv/TXHT_hockey.
Getting all the plugs in now.
I'm going to have to do it at the end of the show, too. With tears of pain. But yeah, so there's good things coming. Just can't talk about it all. breaks my heart because I really wanted to do it today.
In time.
Hopefully Tuesday. Because we technically have to get this stuff announced before the start of the next season. Because that's when everything's supposed to officially start.
A lot can happen in 2 days.
Exactly. Like me crying in pain and watching TakeOver New Orleans tonight and watching WrestleMania tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot going on in 2 days.
I know. Technically 4. Monday and Tuesday. Yeah. We're forgetting that there's still a Monday and a Tuesday.
And there's still some time left today.
Yeah. Today is a lost cause already. But so yeah. All right. I'm gonna X out of this because we don't need to talk about DCHL anymore. Now we can segue into the NHL. We had the great segue. We blew it completely, which is perfectly fine by me.
It's all right.
It's Txht. We do stupid stuff on this show anyways. I just pulled up the standings for the NHL right now. And I have it set right now, right off the bat in the Eastern Conference, where you see Columbus, Philadelphia, New Jersey, and Florida. And the Philadelphia Flyers are going to play at 3 p.m. today on NBC against the New York Rangers. And all the Flyers need to do is go to overtime. That's it. Now, I'm hoping my dad doesn't hear behind that closed door, because my dad has been very grumpy with the Philadelphia Flyers because they should have had this playoff spot won like two games ago.
They were hot for a while and they sort of fell off.
And they stopped trying. There's a difference. You know, there's always this great saying of like, is it that you can't do it or you don't want to do it? The Flyers right now look like they don't want to do it, from my dad's perspective. You know, from these last 2 games. And you look at Columbus, they have 97 points right now. Today is their last game of the season. New Jersey has 97 points this so far. They have 1 game left this season, which is against the Washington Capitals tonight. Depending on what those 2 teams do.
Well, Columbus plays Nashville as well.
Yes.
So I don't know what they're going to do with their resting player situation.
Well, see, here's the funny thing, you know.
They pretty much have the number 1 seed locked up, as I recall.
Nashville, 100%, they're the President's Trophy winners. They got first place in the West, first place in the NHL for the regular season locked up. And so for Columbus, going over to the schedule. Stop doing that. There we go. Columbus. Where's Columbus? Oh, there they are. They play at 8 p.m. in Nashville. I think that's a game.
Well, they'll know the results of the Philadelphia game at that point. If Philadelphia loses, they can kind of...
Well, no, it actually, Philadelphia has... So here's the thing. If Philadelphia goes into overtime and loses in overtime, they have 97 points and effectively takes the final spot in the Eastern Conference. Then they'll have 90...
Well, Columbus
they'll have
New Jersey have 97 as well.
Yes, I know, but hold on. Regardless of that, Philly, no matter what, will take the last wild card.
If they tie.
Because of that little stat right there, which is wins. New Jersey and Columbus both have more. So Philly would automatically be playing, you know, either Tampa Bay or Boston, depending on whoever wins the Atlantic Division. It's really going to be down, but if Philadelphia wins and they get 98 points, and then New Jersey loses to the Capitals tonight, then they two will switch. If Columbus loses in regulation to Nashville and Philadelphia wins in regulation, Philly goes to 3rd place in the division. And then Columbus will be the first wild card, and New Jersey will be the final wild card.
If New Jersey wins.
If New Jersey loses in regulation. So if both Columbus and New Jersey lose in regulation, and Philly wins in regulation, or just wins flat out, because then they'll have 98. Yep. So it's like... Looks like Columbus will still be on top of New Jersey in that scenario. Exactly. So New Jersey would then go into the Atlantic Division and play Boston or Tampa Bay.
Looks like Tampa Bay.
And Columbus will be playing... I don't know about that. Boston's got 2 games left. Tampa Bay's got one, and Tampa Bay and Boston's got two. Boston plays today and tomorrow because they have to do that makeup game from when the blizzard happened against Florida.
I thought they were on 81 games as well, so they have a game.
Florida and Boston are both at 80 games right now, and they play each other ironically tomorrow. So there you go. But then here's where it gets really complicated. Because the NHL just released. Let me pull the email up from the league.
Philadelphia, all said and done, have to win,
or at least get a point. They just have to get a point. Where is it? Here it is. NHL announces additional tie-breaking procedure to determine playoff eligibility between the Flyers and the Panthers. If at the conclusion of the regular season, two teams competing for the final playoff berth in a conference are tied in points, row, regulation plus overtime wins, points in their season series, excluding the first home game for the team that has the extra game, and goal differential for the season, the following procedure will apply. A tie-breaking game will be played.
I read this morning.
Yeah. Nope, and I just got out of it. An equally weighted draw will be conducted by the league promptly upon the conclusion of the last game of the regular season on Sunday to determine home ice advantage for the game. Funny thing, Florida has to play on Sunday against the Boston Bruins in Boston. So how are you going to have them...
they're going to determine on Sunday.
Yeah, they're going to determine
on Sunday. They will be playing on Sunday as well.
Which tells me the tie-breaking game will be played on Monday, which would then mean 3 games in a row for Florida, which is unheard of.
And maybe a travel day, again, from Sunday after a game to Monday.
Yeah. Should the score of that game be tied at the end of the regulation, overtime will be conducted under the rules that are in effect for the Stanley Cup playoffs, i.e. 5-on-5 skaters, sudden death, 20-minute periods until a winner is determined. For the purposes of the 2017-18 season, the tie-breaking game would be played on Tuesday, April 10th.
There you go.
Damn.
So they get a day off.
So they do get a day off. And then here's some more on this. The Philadelphia Flyers currently occupy the final wildcard spot in the Eastern Conference with the Florida Panthers, the only team capable of catching them, with 96 and 92 points respectively. The Flyers and the Panthers are tied in row with 39. The team split their season series after eliminating the odd home game between them. Philadelphia currently is a +3 in-goal differential for the season, while Florida is -1. Therefore, the teams will play a tie-breaking game if Philadelphia loses its final game of the season by 2 goals exactly against the Rangers, and Florida wins its final 2 contests, both in shootouts, tonight versus Buffalo and Sunday at Boston.
It's getting complicated. Philly can make this very easy by just picking up a point.
Yeah, exactly. So, for my sake, for the guy who has to listen to a 60-year-old man scream, or soon to be 61-year-old man scream at his TV, that the Flyers aren't trying hard enough. Please, just for the sake of God, just win the damn game. Play like you mean it, for my sake. Because I might actually watch the game. But at the same time, I think New Jersey's going to steal a point against the Caps. I think that game will go into overtime. If not, they'll win. And I think if Nashville rests their players, Columbus is going to win.
That's a big
because
even if they rest their players, they're still a pretty good team.
Oh, exactly. And the thing is that with Nashville, obviously players that they're probably going to rest are guys like Ryan Ellis, who came in midway for the season because of injury.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to want to rest a guy like Roman Josi and PK Subban. You're going to play Saros over Pekka Rinne. UC Saros over Pekka Rinne. For offense, you're definitely going to want to rest up guys like Kevin Fiala and Ryan Johansson and Philip Forsberg, because you want to make sure that those guys are going to be fresh and healthy going into the playoffs. Especially if you all remember the injury that Kevin Fiala had last season and the injury that took out, I believe it was Ryan Johansson last season with the blood clots.
Yeah, they're probably going to rest a lot of people, send out their backup goalie. And Columbus is up against it. They're going to be playing for their playoff spots.
And that's the thing. They know that there's 3 spots open, and they can end up in one of 2 of them. They can either end up in 3rd and play Pittsburgh, or they can end up in the first wildcard spot and face Washington. If I'm New Jersey, I would be watching the scoreboard of the Columbus game, which is at 8. But the problem is that New Jersey and Washington's at 7,
yeah.
And Columbus.
They don't have time to watch.
And Columbus and Nashville's at 8. So honestly, it's going to be Columbus who's going to be watching the scoreboard.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, if I'm Columbus, I want Pittsburgh. And the reason I say that is that the first 2 times Columbus have been in the playoffs, they've been eliminated by Pittsburgh in 4 or 5 games. And I think
Sullivan is a Torts product, worked under his system as an assistant coach. He's got to feel like that's his best matchup.
And not only that, but here's the other thing. Outside Matt Murray, who else is in goal for Pittsburgh?
Smith, who had a nice shutout game last night. But when it comes to playoff time, it's Murray or bust.
Yep.
Just like every other team.
And he's been very injury prone this season.
He's a fragile boy.
So this is the opportunity for Columbus.
And it's also the shortest possible commute that they could have.
And that's another thing that a lot of people look at. They forget about the commute. New Jersey to Washington's a much better commute than New Jersey to Pittsburgh.
Absolutely.
So
it's a little bit shorter. Columbus, that's an hour-and-a-half bus ride, maybe.
Oh, all the Devils have to do is just hop the train at Newark, and you're there. You're back. You're down in D.C. at Union Station.
That's the nice thing about East Coast hockey. These teams get the short commutes whenever the playoffs really start.
Yep. Which is a great segue into talking. Stop doing that, computer.
Unlike the Western Conference teams that we're about to look at.
Now, this is the interesting one right here. 9 o'clock at night tonight. St. Louis at Colorado.
For the 8th seed.
For the final wildcard spot in the in the Western Conference. St. Louis currently has 94 points. Colorado currently has 93. This has been a great turnaround season for Colorado. They definitely won very well in that Matt Duchene trade.
Mm-hmm.
Ottawa lost horribly by giving up Kyle Turris. By giving up Kyle Torres to Nashville as part of that Matt Duchene trade. St. Louis, though, in an interesting move, traded Paul Stastny to Winnipeg. And it's confirmed that it'll be Winnipeg versus Minnesota in the first round of that series. And you're also going to have, I believe it's going to be Vegas.
Vegas is a 3 seed right now, I believe.
Vegas is going to get Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
Winnipeg is going to get Minnesota.
The Sharks get the Ducks.
And the Sharks get the Ducks, which that will be a good series right there. And I'm actually excited for Winnipeg, Minnesota. I think that will be a really good series to watch, too. But Nashville will be either facing St. Louis or Colorado. I think St. Louis would be a better rivalry matchup for the two teams. Mm-hmm. But the interesting thing is that if St. Louis wins in overtime or the shootout over Colorado, correction. If Colorado wins in overtime, I think St. Louis still gets the.
What is the goals for? Goals against? Colorado. Yeah, they have the goal. They have the win. So Colorado has to win outright in regulation to take this thing.
Yeah. So I think that right there will be one of the best games to watch.
Mm-hmm. That's an exciting game tonight. What time is that game?
That game is at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock tonight. And, and it's interesting. It's like you really hope that tonight, well, technically this afternoon, with the Flyers and the Rangers, you get the last spot in the Eastern Conference locked up. And you know for a fact in the Western Conference you're going to get that last spot locked up.
Yep.
The only thing that may change with tomorrow, let's see here. Tampa Bay plays tonight. They almost blew it last night against Buffalo.
They put up 7 or 8 goals.
They won 7-5, but at one point I think they were up 4-1, and then it was 5-5.
Mm-hmm. Buffalo
tied it up. I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Let's see here. Tampa Bay has 112 points. So let's just play devil's advocate. Tampa Bay plays Carolina tonight. Carolina is a very competitive team. If Carolina beats Tampa and Boston wins their next 2, Boston's going to be playing, let's just for the sake of it say Boston's going to be playing Philly, which that would be a good series. Yeah. But if Tampa Bay wins today,
they're locked in. They just need to get a point.
Yeah, they need to win outright because
they're only up 2.
Yeah, Because if you look at how many overtime losses Boston has, and how many wins Tampa Bay has more wins. So Tampa Bay. Oh yeah, and then the goal differential is also a key factor.
And they've been playing without Stamkos for a few days now.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if he comes back for the first round or not. How healthy is he going to be? He's lost a lot of games over his career because of injuries.
Yeah, but at the same time, they've had Nikita Kucherov. And Kucherov has really stepped up his game. Andrei Vasilevsky has stepped up his game. Tyler Johnson, Andre Palat. You can just... Braden Point is having a spectacular season this season.
They have 3 really good playoff lines that are going to come out there every game.
But then the thing that hurts them is their defense. Because you have Victor Hedman, you have Andre Schuster, Ryan McDonough, and Daniel Girardi. But the thing is, and my dad was bringing this up to me in conversation when we were talking about the Tampa Bay Lightning, their defense is their biggest problem. Because there's a reason why the New York Rangers, and I'm pretty sure if I brought, Russell or Zach or some of the other guys from Tilted Ice or Forever Blue Shirts up in New York, they would agree with this point that there's a reason why the Rangers bought out Dan Girardi. Because he's an old, slow defenseman. Mm-hmm. There's a reason that they traded away Ryan McDonough. He's not old, but he is a slow defenseman. And speed is paramount in the NHL playoffs. Defense is paramount, but so is speed. And if your defense isn't fast, you're going to get burned.
You will.
And I think that's something where, and it's also something where the first half of the season, Tampa Bay started off really hot. And the second half of the season, they haven't been as hot as they were. And you're starting to see some of those flaws within the team, especially on the defensive side of things. Which is why Boston can theoretically steal. But I really want to see Tampa Bay win straight out today. Because I want a Boston-Toronto first-round series.
Yeah. That
would be fun to watch. You talk about a rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing gets any better than an original 6.
Yep, that's it. And 2 teams in the Northeast like that, that'll make for good hockey.
Yep, but we will know officially who everyone is playing, hopefully tonight.
Ideally.
Ideally. I mean, if we find out tomorrow after the Boston-Florida game, then okay, fine, whatever.
It's not going to hurt my feelings. I don't have too much more skin in it. But for those teams, hopefully they know tonight so they can all get settled in and get working on game plans.
Exactly, and that's how it makes my life a lot easier for Tuesday night when I start doing the playoff preview. So let's take a look at the chat room. Shaggy goes, at least we aren't playing the Pens in round 1. I agree. It would have been weird playing the Penguins I don't think we would have played the Penguins in round 1. The only way if we played Pittsburgh in round 1 is if we ended up where I originally predicted the Capitals, which was either the 3rd seed of the Metropolitan Division or as a wild card if Pittsburgh took first place.
Right.
That was the only way I saw the Capitals playing Pittsburgh in the first round. Capitals obviously exceeded my expectations by winning the division. I did not have them winning the division at all. I had them, like I said, 3rd place or wild card. Preferably wild card going into the Atlantic Division.
Right.
But,
Hey, another division title for the Caps. Another banner to hang.
Don't matter unless you win the Cup. Dixon goes, I want them knocked out in round 1.
Who are you talking about, Dixon?
Oh, he's talking about the Penguins. I could tell you he's talking about the Penguins. By Columbus. I actually would like to see the Penguins get eliminated in the first round by Columbus. I think it would be a really great story to tell in the playoffs, because that's what the playoffs is truly about, the stories that are told. And just tell the story of, this is the 3rd time that Columbus has made it to the playoffs, and it's the 3rd time they've had to play Pittsburgh in the first round.
Don't you like the idea that Columbus is almost a suburb of Pittsburgh, and they just keep getting beaten up by Big Brother over and over and over again?
And then now...
That seems like a pretty good storyline.
And then now they have their chance to 3rd time's the charm.
Right.
Shaggy goes, so if the Caps get the Devils, are we going to the games, Mike? LOL. Are you going to let me use one of your season tickets to go to the game, Shaggy?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we know you're a season ticket holder. We love you long time.
Buy that playoff package.
Oh, he already has it. He's already showing it up on Facebook and Twitter. It's like, look what came in. My playoff tickets came in. I hate you, Shaggy, with love. With love.
In an ideal world.
I hate you.
the Capitals will beat either Philly or New Jersey. Pittsburgh will beat Columbus, and then the Capitals get their chance at a redemption story.
Yeah,
For the
here's
ninth,
here's the
time?
Here's the thing, 5 millionth. Here's the thing, though. When you look at it, it's like I like the idea of them going up against New Jersey in the first round. I think that's a good matchup for the Capitals, especially the fact, and I'll go more about this on Tuesday why, but I think it's a good matchup for the Caps to get out of the first round. Philly scares the holy hell out of me, and Columbus scares the holy hell out of me. And Pittsburgh, to an extent, scares the holy hell out of me. Now, if we don't play Pittsburgh or Philly because they go into the Atlantic Division, then we don't have to worry about them for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to explain why right now Philly worries me, because odds are we're not going to be playing Philly. Philly scares the crap out of me because every time we played them this season, they've whooped crap out of the Washington Capitals. They have. And, I think the first time they played back in October, Philly won 7-1 or something like that against the Capitals. Then another game they doubled them up 6-3, and it just hasn't been good games for the Capitals against the Flyers. Columbus has always been back and forth. You're going to get really good playoff hockey if you get the Capitals versus Columbus. That's a team that also scares me a bit.
Their goalie doesn't have a good history in the playoffs.
But he's seeing a sports psychologist to help with that. And I bet you he's going to be meeting with him as soon as he's finished his game today so he can start getting prepped for the playoffs.
Get his mind in the right place.
Exactly. And then Pittsburgh always worries me, as Shaggy just put up on the board. Capitals are 1-9 against the Penguins in the playoffs.
There you go.
So, it would be nice to get redemption too, but at the same time, I'd rather not have a third year in a row where we face Pittsburgh in the second round.
You know where my loyalties lie, so I'd be pretty happy with that.
Where did I lie again?
Oh, I'm a Pittsburgh kid, born and raised.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
As the chat room slowly starts to hate me. So that's...
Dixon still want Pittsburgh knocked out in round 1. So, Shaggy, all vitriol may now go to this man right here. Just bring it. We'll extend the show for 5 minutes just so you can do it. No, we're not.
That's why I was named Assistant Commissioner of DCHL. I need a Pittsburgh guy in there.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what Suds really wanted.
So we beat the East up. I think we're running out of time here pretty close, right? Why don't we talk about the West a little bit?
West, and we can go over. I mean, it's not like...
You got your preview on Tuesday.
Yeah, here's the thing. We can go over because, and here's why we can go over. We're not on WBGR, we're on Twitch. We bill it for an hour, but if we go over 5-10 minutes, we can go over 5-10 minutes. It's not like where another show is coming into the studio. I mean, as you can all tell, this is my bedroom. This is the studio, I'm not booking my bedroom for anybody.
I know there's a couple cats lined up outside that want to talk about the Friskies.
Oh, really? Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, there was something I wanted to talk about, but we weren't able to real quick. Actually, we'll touch base on it real fast after we talk about the West. And that was about the crash yesterday.
Okay.
Did you hear about that?
No.
Okay, then we'll talk about the West, and we'll talk about the Humboldt Broncos. So for the West, you have Minnesota-Winnipeg. That I'm super excited for. I think that will be the best Western Conference series.
It's going to be a very good matchup. I still think Winnipeg comes out with it, but it's going to be a 7-game slobber knocker of a battle. I think they're really going to go every ounce of it, unless someone gets a miracle break and goes up 3-1. But I think that Winnipeg, they just look so good this year. And it's nice to see Winnipeg at the top of the standings again after so many years. And after the move, good Canadian hockey team up at the top.
Oh, yeah.
I think Nashville, I can't say they're going to smoke whoever they get in the first round, but I really like their chances. I mean, they're the Vegas favorite right now to get to the Cup. I don't see a reason why they shouldn't go if they do what they're supposed to do.
I think they have the most balanced team in the entire NHL. I really do. For Nashville, Vegas is going to be the wild card. It's going to be interesting. They've had a very good, consistent. That's a key word right there. Consistent season this season. Now they're going into the playoffs. Yeah. Now it changes the game. Now they're going up against a team that has won 2 Stanley Cups in the Los Angeles Kings. They're taking on, guys like Anze Kopitar on a regular basis, Dustin Brown on a regular basis, Jeff Carter on a regular basis.
Yeah,
and keep in mind, Jeff Carter missed the majority of the season with a sliced Achilles tendon.
Yep.
With him in the lineup and him playing Jeff Carter hockey at top notch, like he never missed a beat. LA is going to be a bitch to play against.
That's a tough seed to be playing down to. Plus, I feel like the Knights have been playing with a chip on their shoulder all season. Hey, we're this put-together team. No one expects us to win. Now that they're in playoffs, does that change a little bit? Hey, do they keep that chip on their shoulder? Do they keep playing hard? Or does they let out a sigh of relief and get caught on their heels and all of a sudden they're down 2-0, 3-0 in the series, and just like that, you're out in the first round.
Yeah, and that's the key thing. And somebody made a joke on Twitter, or many people probably made this joke on Twitter, where if the Vegas Golden Knights win the Cup and they do their parade, instead of wearing the Golden Knights jerseys, they should wear the jersey of the team that they got selected from in the expansion.
That would be entertaining.
That would probably piss off so many people.
I think that'd be very entertaining.
It'd be
worth seeing.
It would be entertaining, but so many people would be so angry with that too.
I'm sure there's people that will always be angry with whatever happens, but I would like to see that. I think that would be a fun change of pace.
But also at the same time, if Vegas wins the Cup, the fix was put into it.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
There's a lot of question marks.
What, a hockey team in Vegas had something fixed?
Yeah. Who knew about that? Maybe Jeremy Roenick would, because he used to do... no, it was Rick Tocchet who used to do gambling. I think it was Roenick's wife.
I'm sure Roenick probably put a bet or two down in his career.
Yeah. I know Rick Tocchet did. And he's the coach of the Phoenix Coyotes, or the Arizona Coyotes. Let's call him Phoenix.
You gotta put someone down.
I feel bad for Rick Tocchet, though, with Arizona. I hope they fire that general manager who did everything for analytics. Like, he's younger than us.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, it's all analytics. And the team made it the playoffs. He becomes the general manager, and then the team gets destroyed. Sounds like Florida last season.
Hey, someone decided it was a good idea to put an analytics guy in there. You see it in corporate America all the time. Bean counters trying to run businesses that they don't know anything about. This is what happens.
Yep.
Happened to the Cleveland Browns. Didn't they have the Moneyball guy? Well, they're just the Browns, so another mistake. The Phoenix Coyotes, the Cleveland Browns, or the NHL.
Yes. Honestly, I think St. Louis, if they beat Colorado, I think St. Louis would be the best matchup for Nashville.
I think so, too.
I think that would be a really good first-round challenge for Nashville. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Colorado either. I think Colorado would be a really good challenge for Nashville, too, but I think St. Louis would be a better challenge because they have a bit more of a rivalry between the two teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Nashville gets out of that one all the way. I think they take the run all the way. I don't want to. You can do your Tuesdays. I don't want to spoil your Tuesdays, but
no, that's fine.
I think you see another matchup of last year's Cup. Nashville, Pittsburgh.
I don't think Pittsburgh will get. I don't think Pittsburgh makes the Stanley Cup Finals this year. I think the fatigue and the wear and tear finally get to them on that.
I've heard that.
And not only that, but Derek Brassard being out now due to injury, who they just picked up at the trade deadline, which was their big trade deadline pickup.
Yep, supposed to be their third line center.
So you got some battered and bruised guys in Pittsburgh.
As long as they can run out the big four, they've got a chance.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, anyone who makes playoffs has a chance. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of also luck, bounces, and other factors. So with that, real quick, I know we're running over, but that's perfectly okay.
So, tell me about this crash that I don't know about.
So yesterday,
blissfully disconnected from the world yesterday.
Yesterday, let me get over to the very beginning. Yesterday, the Humboldt Broncos, a junior hockey team from Saskatchewan, Canada, were involved in a serious bus accident while on their way to their next game. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police confirmed that 14 are dead and another 14 have been sent to the hospital, with 3 of them in critical condition. So you can have a look at the team.
It's unfortunate.
That is the, if I can get it to work just right, that is the team right there. As you're just waiting for it to show up on the TV.
Yeah, see how well it turned out. Hey, that turned out all right.
Yeah, I'm getting enough practice. That is the team right there, who was in the bus.
The age 14 and 16?
They're juniors. I don't know. I'll have to ask. But apparently last night they were supposed to have a game. That game was canceled.
Well, of course.
And the two teams were supposed to play in Game 5. So it was actually a playoff game that they're supposed to be playing in. It really... bus carrying has been... and one of the biggest reports is that what happened was that their bus was hit by a semi.
Unfortunate.
So, it's unfortunate, that the hockey... Here's a picture. I'm not showing that on...
wrecked.
Yeah, I'm not showing that on Twitter.
With any... You hear it all the time, statistics, it's the most dangerous thing. You're more likely to die in a car wreck than a plane wreck, right? Well, you're out there on a bus, back and forth, 2 or 3 times a week. I'm sure every kind of pro sport or junior sport has something like this happen. And it's unfortunate that it gets swept under the rug in the news cycle like that, because next week we'll be on to whatever crazy thing happens in the world. But it's unfortunate to see young people like that go in that kind of way.
Yeah, and
while trying to do something that they love. And for the other team, who probably no one's going to mention, it's an emotional experience for that other side, because they have to deal with that idea of, hey, we're around this whole thing, we survived, now we have to go on with life around that. No one's ever really going to mention that part of them.
Yeah, so it's tough. The hockey community lost some good people. Let's see here. I got to catch up on I think I got to catch up on Shaggy's tweets for the show.
I'm sure there'll be some tribute towards it.
And tonight the Hockey Night in Canada game is Montreal versus Toronto. It's obviously a long-running joke my dad and I had, and it's not in light of the situation, but because of what we know, what Don Cherry will do.
Oh, of course.
I love watching Hockey Night in Canada. I love watching...
You think I have a jacket with buses on it?
Oh, that's too soon. I said we weren't going to be making slight of the situation.
If that's a Don Cherry kind of thing.
No, no. If everybody, I love Coach's Corner. I love Saturday Headlines. It's actually a really good source, especially Saturday Headlines. It's a really good source of knowledge of the inner workings of the NHL. Kind of like how earlier we were doing like a little inner workings of the DCHL.
Yeah, around Saturday Corner.
Yeah. But for Elliot Friedman, I love Elliot Friedman. But we know that by watching Coach's Corner, you get every once in a while those little golden nuggets of like hockey knowledge and stuff like that, of like especially on how to play the game, spurs and position, stuff like that. But we also know how he always ends his Coach's Corners, which is always with the super sentimental stuff. And Don Cherry, we know it's a very bad situation. Please don't spend the entire hockey night your Coach's Corner on it, please. We need positive stuff too. We need hockey talk.
It's low hanging fruit. He's going to do it.
Oh no. I'm okay with him doing it, but please save it for the end of the segment. Mm-hmm. Don't do it the entire segment.
Yeah,
because you don't want the entire segment to be a downer.
Yep.
Talk about the hockey that's being played. Then talk about
end it with your thoughts. Say good night. And
then because I'm going to watch Coach's Corner, and I don't want to feel like super depressed the entire time I'm watching exactly. Coach's Corner. It's a tragedy. It sucks. That's why we talk about it. But at the same time, remember them, and we gotta, kind of keep everything in a positive light.
Yep.
So at the same time.
Well, we'll tune in tonight and see what happens.
Yeah, and then we'll watch Saturday Headlines.
There you go.
Because what's the second period for again for those two teams? Oh wait, it's for nothing because Montreal's not even in the playoffs.
What a shame, Habs fans.
Man,
reflect on all those cups you won back when there were no teams in the league.
We could spend just hours on end talking about
how bad the Habs are.
About like how a lot of teams in the league right now could have been so much better, and they just fell apart. Montreal, we knew were going to suck. And anyone who's a Canadiens fan who's watching, I'm sorry. But the fact of the matter is you have no offense. You have defense. You have an amazing goaltender in Carey Price. You have Jonathan Drouin on offense.
Mm-hmm. kind of a waste to see.
What else do you have? Alex Galchenyuk, Max Pacioretty, who are both hot and cold.
Trade Carey Price to Phoenix. Save Phoenix.
They got Antti Ranta.
You rather have Carey Price?
Yeah, but
Sure.
yeah, okay.
Analytics guy will get it done. You gotta put some offense around the guy. He's going to be one of the best goalies in the history of the league, and never going to win a thing.
Yep. All right, so final thoughts. Shaggy, if Vegas wins the cup in their first year, I will quit watching the NHL. Please don't. Shaggy, I've been retweeting the story this morning, and Shaggy, super sad thoughts and prayers for the families. I mean, yeah, and that's all we can really do in regards to the Humboldt Broncos. It does suck. It is a sad situation. And for the family side of things, it's going to take a while for them to get peace.
Yep.
Because it's just all of a sudden, now they're gone. So we talked about all the playoff implications. The 3 games to watch, or
Big
technically 4.
Tonight.
Today, 3 p.m. on NBC, the New York Rangers at the Philadelphia Flyers. Then the next big game is at 7 p.m., the Buffalo Sabres at the Florida Panthers, depending on what the Flyers do in their game against the Rangers. 7 o'clock, New Jersey versus Washington.
And then 9 p.m.
And then 7 p.m., you have Tampa Bay at Carolina. That will dictate what will happen with the first seed, as well as Ottawa at Boston at 7 p.m. as well. And then at 9 p.m., and then 8 p.m., you have Columbus at Nashville. And then at 9 p.m., you will definitely have guaranteed the final spot in the Western Conference, taking up St. Louis versus Colorado.
That's the game I'm tuning into. That's the one I'm watching most today.
That's probably the most important game today.
Yeah, definitely. Without a doubt.
All right. Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, you can follow the show on Twitter at TXHT_hockey, Facebook at facebook.com/TXHThockey. Join the Patreon community today. We actually have up our NWHL Isabel Cup Championship coverage up on the Patreon page, patreon.com/TXHThockey. Tell your friends to follow the show on Twitch at twitch.tv/TXHT_hockey, so they know when we go live each and every time, which is always Saturday at 11 a.m. Hoorah.
Hoorah.
Hoorah. And again, Tway, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Talking DCHL, talking NHL.
Glad to do it.
You had fun?
Yes, definitely.
All right, see, this is, which one's better, DCHL Games Center show or this one? Because we've done both together now.
You know, we talked more DCHL in that one. Totally different experiences under the lights with the cameras. But this one was a little bit more relaxed, a little bit easier.
I keep it simple.
Yeah.
See, I don't go like, we don't need to wear suits. You're wearing a hoodie, I'm wearing just a t-shirt. I would, if you weren't coming over, I'd be wearing my pajama pants right now.
Thanks for putting on clothes. I really appreciate it.
Oh, I was going to wear clothes. I mean, I was going to wear clothes. It was just going to be my, Star Wars pajama pants and this t-shirt.
There you go.
There you go. I'm so glad I don't have to go into a studio anymore for this show.
There you go. It's the new America.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. We have fun doing it. So
tune into Twitch for Street Sharks games moving forward.
April 15th, hopefully, so I don't have another freaking week off.
All the games from this weekend will be taped in the DCHL, so keep your eye out on YouTube.
He never asked me if we're going to Facebook Live them or Twitch them.
Maybe because your team's not in it this time.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah.
You could probably do it if you want to anyway.
I don't want to showcase that garbage. Maybe the consolation exhibition game. We'll just put that out there.
There you go. Or just go for the D3 game. Support your fellow Street Sharks.
Former Street Sharks.
Former Street Sharks.
Well, no, there's one current Street Shark on there. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, with that, thanks for tuning in. We went overtime. That's perfectly fine. I don't care. So, it's my show. I make the rules.
Yeah.
Just when you think you have the answers, I change the questions. There you go. Gotta get a little Roddy Piper thing in there. So, with that, until next time, it will be Tuesday night, 7 p.m. for the NHL preview special. We'll see you on the ice.